It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview Northwestern State's head women's basketball coach, Coach Anna Nimz. How are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for having me on today.
Yeah. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to get started in coaching in college athletics?
I think it really just came from, the fact that I played from such a young age. I'm one of four, being the youngest girl with three older brothers. So rough and tough was kind of fun for me growing up. Basketball was kind of my niche, played four sports, but found my love of basketball at a young age, and then parlayed that into playing college basketball at Pittsburgh State. So I think just throughout my playing career, definitely there towards the end of my playing career, I realized it was more of a lifelong thing than maybe something that was just for the here and now. So I'd have to attribute my playing career to that.
What was your playing career like at Pittsburgh State?
Awesome. Everybody has different experiences in college. Everybody, the ups and the downs, and I found my lifelong best friends, competed at a high level, was in a community where it was everything, football, basketball, any sport, they loved on you, whether you were seeing people at church and they were recognizing you, or you were seeing people out in the community and they wanted to buy you breakfast. That was always great. So it was just an overall great experience, and just one that I'll forever cherish. And then, like I said, they're my lifelong best friends. So the people in my life that I'm still connected with, and they're in my wedding. So just awesome experience.
What was that experience like, getting to put on that basketball jersey for Pittsburgh State?
Privilege. I'm still of the era. I did the AAU, I did all the high school, I played, but earning that, that college scholarship was such a privilege. And I think it's still a privilege today, but I think it's the next step for so many, and even in college, like, just a traditional student, it's just college is the next thing. And I guess I'm old enough now that I'm still of the era where it was not everybody got to go to college, or not everybody got a scholarship. And so it was a privilege, and it was a privilege to be a gorilla. In the Midwest, Pittsburgh State's bar none one of the best colleges, and it's in one of the most competitive conferences in the nation. And so just to be able to be one, to play under Coach High and Coach Amanda David, it meant something to me. It still means something to me to be a gorilla. I still rep it very proudly here at Northwestern State. I take a lot of my experiences from that and definitely move it into my career as a coach.
What were some of your collegiate accomplishments on the playing side?
On the playing side, I think the one that I'm most proud of is my sophomore, junior, and senior year. I was team captain, and that's something that means probably the most. There were different accolades, at different points in my career. More accolades, probably more team-based, and how my team saw me. MVP. I was student athlete of the year for Pittsburgh State University, and moved that actually into graduate assistant of the year. So I know that's outside of my playing career, but I think it was my playing career that helped move me into the position to be who I was as a graduate assistant. But did I rake in a whole bunch of all conference awards? I did not. Average 10 a game. I was probably 80% or something from the free throw line. Those are the glory days. I'm sure in my head I was better than I was. I don't know. But had a lot of more inter-team awards than definitely all conference type stuff. But I left feeling like $1,000,000. So, like I said, it was just an awesome experience.
What was that transition like from you from going from being a player to then becoming a grad assistant for your alma mater?
Uh, Again, a privilege. Everything about Pittsburgh State is a privilege. And the people I've been able to meet, I think probably the most important thing, going from playing, to being a graduate assistant is I actually had a gap year on the in between. So I was finalizing my degree. I finished my 4 years of college basketball, but I was earning a bachelor's degree of science and education. And so I still had to do my student teaching. So after that, after my playing career, I had an additional semester where I was gone. I was gone from the court. I was Anna Nimz without basketball. And I would say actually that was a big period of time where I knew I wanted to be Anna Nimz with basketball. Loved being in the classroom, loved my kids. But I had that little bit of a space between being a player with all my buddies and then having to move into a coach. But I had that space on the in-between. So there was a little bit of separation and as far as, being with your buddies. And then most of my buddies graduated. And actually right at that exact time, my coach retired and we hired, but Dr. Bryant hired rather, Coach Lane Lord, so a different coach, different team, and allowed me to probably transition into my graduate assistant career probably a little more seamlessly when you go from player to graduate assistant all at the same school. Obviously, I think there could be some blurred lines there. I wasn't really faced with that, and so not a bad transition, pretty easy. Again, the people at Pitt State were just above and beyond in my entire experience.
What were some of the things that you learned as a grad assistant to help you to get that head coaching job on the community college level?
It's something that I would say I learned then, and I hold dear to my heart all the way until my career right now. But no job is too big, no job is too small. Learned real quick how to, I did my own laundry. I'd never used an industrial laundry machine, but learned how to do the small stuff and realized such a big impact that it made. And I paid my dues. We talk about that in the coaching career. You got to pay your dues, pay your time. And not all of us get to start, as a Power 5 player into a Power 5 assistant or a D1 into a D1 assistant or any of that. And that's awesome that some do. But I started as a graduate assistant at a Division II school, again, at my alma mater. That's the only place I wanted to be. But then I actually, bad decision on my part. So a little word to the wise for anybody that's a graduate assistant. I had a need to always try to excel or go above and beyond. And so I took more course load than what a genuine master's program is. And so I took them faster. And I actually finished my master's degree in a year in a summer. But the problem with doing that the way I did, and I was really excited until that also meant the money stopped. And so there was no more stipend, there was no more school, it was time to get a job. And I had the privilege of working with Coach Lord and Coach David, who really helped me throughout that next year, that second year of graduate school, as a grad assistant, but I was no longer in grad school. So I substitute taught. I would get up in the mornings and do workouts with a couple of the post players. I would go substitute teach because I had to make some money. And then I would come back and be at practice, and then I would travel. And so I was graduate assistant paid 1 year. And because of my need to probably overachieve, I learned quickly that was a bad decision on that, at least that one time. I worked for free for an entire year. And obviously Coach Lord, he's great. And so he helped me when he could. But that was some paying your dues, working for that year for free. But I think it taught me just a lot about myself and a lot about how important this is to me and the impact that I do want to have.
What was your experience like, honestly, getting to work on the community college level as a head coach?
Surreal, being 24, and having a head college coaching job was surreal. Let's be honest. I knew what I experienced, but I didn't know much else. And so a lot of my career has just been, learning by doing, going and watching other coaches, seeking out information from mentors. But it was a surreal opportunity. I remember Coach Keel, he gave me my offer. He gave me that first experience. I made it hard on him to turn me away because Labette Community College is about 30, 40 minutes away from Pittsburgh State. And everybody sends in emails and everybody sends in their resume via email. And I was like, well, I'm going to try this different. And I went up to Coach Keel. I knocked on his door and I said, I'm Anna Nimz. this is my resume. You got to find ways to separate yourself. And I'm positive that's not going to get everybody very far. But it impressed Coach Keel. And, you got to find a way to get your resume to the top, right? There's hundreds of resumes that get sent in. So how do you separate? And I walked my resume straight into the door. So Coach Keel took a chance on me. I was 24. I was green. He believed in me probably a lot of days when I did not believe in myself. I was fortunate to have parents and brothers and family that definitely believe in me. So just a great support system. But, to your question, it was a surreal opportunity. And one I definitely don't take lightly.
Of course, while you were that head coach at such a young age, what were some of the things that you learned to then help you to once become a head coach later in your future?
I think the biggest thing, and it probably took me a year or two, is not to compare your team to yourself. The thought always would come to my mind, like, I would never have done that. I never would have talked back, or I never would have not made a sprint. And that's fine. And that's who I am. And that's how I was raised. But we are all cut from a very different cloth. And we were all brought up in very different ways, none better than the other, just very different. And I think that was probably, if I learned anything, my first 2 years probably slowed my roll. I was pretty hard. But I'm thankful that those girls still talk to me because I was hard. But we're come from such different backgrounds, and to find a way to really communicate and associate and not match it because it's very different, but figuring out a way to have that relationship with the kids that are just vastly different. And I think those first 2 years challenged me something fierce. And then I kind of started to figure it out and really expand how maybe I communicated and just try to be more relatable to everybody and not just what I knew. And that was just part of being young, and it's just what it was. And like I said, Coach Keel believed in me and mentored me through that the entire way.
What was your experience like getting to go to Kilgore College to become an assistant coach?
Well, I was the head coach. And so, it was an awesome opportunity. So when you really look at junior college, and it's of no disrespect to any junior college, because I love JUCO basketball, right? Of any conference, recruited all. The Jayhawk Conference, Region 6, in the Region 14, and then the Panhandle regions out in Florida. Like, those are typically your top three. So I had the opportunity to coach in the Jayhawk, and now I was about to change of resources, change of level, have the opportunity to coach at Kilgore College. And again, Jimmy took a chance on me. I was a young coach still. I was 30. That level up to Region 14, and with the resources, it was just very different. And so typically you're going to see them bring in somebody with a little more, let's just say what it is. I worked really hard at Labette. We won 65 games, coached a handful of all-conference kids, did a lot of positive things, had one of the most winningest seasons since maybe, what did I have? 2013, right? But it wasn't anything that was just like, wow. He believed in me and not just the wins and losses. And so again, I have this opportunity to go from the Jayhawk, which is one of the best, to Region 14, which is one of the best. Now, before I moved, I called my brothers and my mom and dad to make sure, like, you guys going to come visit me? Because now I'm like 9 hours away. So am I still going to get my family? And they were on board. So I was on board. And again, I think Jimmy took a chance on me. And I think it gave me a bigger self of, girl, you got this. We had full rides. We were able to sign 15 kids. Just a difference of what we had. Labette was awesome. And they've actually grown exponentially since I left, as far as funding and dorms and weight rooms and everything. We didn't have any of those things when I was there. But Jimmy gave me this opportunity, Coach Reeves, to come in, still young, relatively young. I'm getting pretty old now, but relatively young. And we were able to take over a program. And I think it was just this idea of rebuild and putting some life into it and bring it back to what it was, because it was a dominant powerhouse. And in the last 3 years, or we were there for 3 years, and we had 3 20+ win seasons, right? And so in 3 years, we had 60 some odd wins, where it took me 5 to get, 65 wins. And it was just this process. And I would say, so our mantra at Northwestern State, and really anywhere in Kilgore, was process over product. But I think that really exemplifies what my entire career's been. It's not fast, it's not fancy, but it's who I am. And when we get program rolling, it's foundational and it's something that's near and dear to our heart. And so I think it's something that can last. But Jimmy took a chance on me. Coach Kill took a chance on me. Really everybody. I just, you're taking a chance, and I'm forever grateful.
Of course, during that time, what was that transition like from going from becoming a head coach to then going to become an associate head coach at Texas Rio Grande Valley?
Awesome opportunity. So Coach Lord had called. And there was some comfort, right? Because I was a graduate assistant for Coach Lord at Pittsburgh State. He had a tremendous career at Pittsburgh State, and he was able to take that and move to University of Texas Rio Grande Valley. By the way, the Valley is gorgeous. I get why people retire there. I did it in my, early 30s, which was bad because now, it's gorgeous. It's just awesome there. But Coach Lord took a chance on me, right? I was his associate head coach. I had never been at the Division I level. I had sent kids to the Division I level, but I had never been there myself. So again, Coach Lord took a chance on me, believed in what we could do. And, our first year was our best year. Made it to the championship game, WAC championship there in Vegas. We were a layup away from going to the national tournament, like crazy. And then that year 2, COVID. So we were, no lie, in Vegas when it all started, positive. And we were sent to the airport, sent home, and by the time we even made it back home, the toilet paper debauchery had already started. Like, I needed just regular run-of-the-mill toilet paper, and it was already off the shelf. So just a really weird situation, and so, but without that opportunity, I don't now have the opportunity that I have now. And so I guess the trend is everybody took a chance and everybody gave me an opportunity. I'd like to think I earned some of it. Believe in what we're trying to do and trusted me enough to be on board with them. And like I said, Coach Lord brought me on, and had he not, I don't believe I have the same opportunity I have today. So forever grateful for Jimmy, for Aaron Keel, and Lane Lord. It's those 3 that really help push me in my career to the position I am now.
During that time as associate head coach, what were some of the things that you learned to help you to then take that step to become a head coach?
I would say number 1, how hard. So I've always been a leader of women, right? I've always led 15, 16 kids, maybe 12 to 15, whatever the roster may look like, and 1 assistant. I had a good opportunity to watch Coach Lord and learn from him, and not just how to lead a group of young women, but mostly how hard it can be to actually lead 5 adults and to empower 5 adults. And, when you're in junior college, you're the athletic trainer, you're the counselor, you're the academic advisor, you're mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, you're all these different things. And so your kids are always with you and always rely on you. And so you're used to doing so much. Well, you go to the Division I level and you still are crazy busy, but it's so very focused. And so I think what I was able to watch Coach Lord do is how do you empower adults to be the masters of their area and have the assistants feel that self-worth. It was easy in junior college because you did so much, like you knew you were a part of the program, you knew they needed you, and you were doing something good. And at the Division I level, you're maybe a master of 1 area or of 2 areas. And I think without that, I don't know that I would have understood how hard it is not to lead a group of 15 girls, but to actually lead 3 or 4 more adults, and how important it is to make them feel special.
Throughout your coaching experience, what has it been like, obviously, going from the JUCO level to the Division II level to now the Division I level?
And to your point, I went D2 graduate assistant to JUCO D1 and D1. Basketball is the same at every level. That doesn't change. The rules change. How hard it is to work at a relationship with your kids change. In junior college, because you were so much a part of their life and every facet, you naturally built relationships. They came easy. I would say that's probably one of the biggest differences is you got to work at it at the Division I level. They don't technically seem to need you as much as your junior college kids. And so that's something that we talk a lot about in our program. Just come see us. You know, we want that same exact relationship. We got an open door policy, but it's got to be a two-way street. But they don't need me for academics because they go to the academic center, and they don't need me for strength and conditioning because they go to their strength coach, and they don't need me, you know, for so many of these different things because they have somebody else assigned to them. So it takes a lot more work on my part to make sure that we're building a genuine relationship. And you have to, and for our philosophy, you have to work hard on the relationship side because we're going to push them hard. But they got to know that you love them before you can push, in my opinion.
What was it feeling like coming to Northwestern State to become the head coach?
We'll go back to surreal. You know, I took this job sight unseen. It was COVID. I did my interview just like I'm doing today. I bought a house online. That was nuts. Took a job in April, couldn't even show up until June. Didn't meet my team until September, face to face. It's nuts. But the fact that Greg Burke took a chance on me, right? I was a JUCO coach, had a lot of success at Kilgore, 2 years experience, Division I assistant, and blessed me with an opportunity. And I feel like I've just constantly been steered on the right path, follow God, and my faith in him kind of just keeps leading me one way or the other. You know, and so blessed and surreal opportunity. Because again, let's see, how old am I now? So I was 34 when I took the job. You know, so at that point, I was one of the youngest Division I head coaches. You know, still learning, pretty much always learning on trial by error. Brought in some really great staff members to help complement that. And then just slowly but surely building a foundation.
Of course, during that time, what was that feeling like after you got announced to build your coaching staff around you?
Time to put your head down and go to work. You know, it was fun during the process, and it was exciting. And then you get the job, and everything went boom, 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 boom. And we needed a team. We needed a team. I wasn't going to meet my team. All I had was film. Season before us got cut short. Like, we were losing 70 some odd % of the scoring because they graduated. And it was just bear down, put people around you that you absolutely trust, that you can rely on. But it was a put your head down and go to work. And regardless of all the ups and downs and obstacles, couldn't have done it without my staff, couldn't have done it without my family. But it was a time to go to work type feeling.
What was that feeling like once you were able to step onto the court for the first time as a head coach for Northwestern?
That'll take your breath away a little bit. And I think if I ever feel like it's not such a big opportunity, then I need to get out. I mean, I feel privileged every single day. From that day, I remember opening the doors of Prather Coliseum. Greg Burke was walking me in, and I said, wow, this is mine, right? And it was just, it's a whole new level, and just genuine appreciation. But I feel that way every time we say the national or do the national anthem during the game. It's always a thank you. And quiet in my mind, staring at the flag, hand on my heart, but I'm saying thank you, because it's a blessing and a privilege to be here now under Kevin Bastian. And, you know, he's blessed me with an extension, got here, an extension. So just that quick belief again. So I'm following the path that's ahead of me. But it's because of other people's belief. And I'm just going to keep putting my head down and go to work.
Through your time at Northwestern, what have you accomplished so far?
Quite a bit. And again, it's the girls, it's the staff. We'll say going last year, we had the biggest turnaround in school history. We had more home wins since 2016. We hadn't had any player of the weeks, I believe, in over 5 years. We had 6, 7 last year. We upped the points per game from 49 to 67, rather 17 points plus, or 17 plus points per game. You know, knocked off some teams and conferences above us, competitively played with some Power Fives, you know, and some teams in the American. Had newcomer of the year, had first team all conference, had kids really do some really good things. And probably to the biggest point is, I mean, I believe 12 or 14 kids honored with either, you know, president's list, dean's list, So we're 100% graduation rate in the 3 years we've been here. So a lot of things have happened, but it's been very foundational and slow. But we recruited an entire team sight unseen. So when we took the job, not only did we not get here and see our team till September, that entire year of recruitment, you could not go out. The NCAA did not allow us to go out. So we quite literally signed an brand new team, of which the girls were great. They signed sight unseen. They trusted us. They believed in us, but we signed them by watching them play virtually. And so just a crazy path. So for all of that and all the ups and downs and all the craziness of COVID and when we took it, I think the girls have done a great job. And I think we're building that foundation and that culture of moving us forward. And, like I talked about in our postseason meetings, we have the foundation. Now it's time to really climb and be where we believe we should be as Lady Demons.
Can you talk about, of course, the culture that you've built for the program?
I'll talk about the culture that the girls built. I think it's just a genuine buy-in, a genuine love for one another. Our approach is very much be demanding, but don't be demeaning. It's a process over product. It's whatever mantra and phrase, but it's a culture based on toughness, but on a real basis of love. I think relationships is a strong suit, and obviously the kid has to want that, and some kids don't, and that's fine too. But we want to build a family. Even at my age, I'm still away from my entire family. And so it's always been important, no matter where I am or where I'm coaching or what I'm a part of, to try to build that within the system, build that within our system and our program, and spend a lot of time with the girls, have them over to the house, cook for them. I show my love by cooking. So that's typically my go-to move. But just being available to them. And like I tell any kid in the process of recruitment, I'm like, I promise you'll hate me someday because I'm going to go hard. I said, but as long as somewhere back here, I love you, then we've had success, in my opinion, and like I said, it's got to be about their degree. It's got to be about earning a degree in something that they want, and then having success on the court and just continuing to grow and become a really successful young woman, whatever that may look like. And it's going to be different for everybody.
What does a typical game day look like for you as a head coach versus for your players?
Oh, Lord knows what theirs is. On the in-between. It probably includes a nap. For us, Thursdays and Saturdays are probably really different. Thursday games are my favorite because they're at 1:00 and it gives me less time to stew and overthink. So Saturday mornings it's going to be an early morning shoot around, making sure that we eat 4 hours ahead of time and that they are there an hour and a half before tip off. So Saturdays are pretty simple. I've got to imagine they go home. I know they want to go home and get their eyelashes on and take a nap and get showered. They look really nice for game days, and then on the Thursday night games, obviously there's a big break. So it's just a matter of having that shoot around sometime in the mid-morning, still the 4 hours ahead of time, still an hour and a half ahead. But on that in between, really getting some good film sessions in. And obviously we would be doing our walkthroughs and whatnot. So I would assume their routine is pretty simple, similar to mine. Mine stayed pretty similar from when I was a player to now as a coach. So I don't know what they do on the in-between on game day, but I think they like to take their naps and shower up and get pretty.
Who are some of the teams that you face each week in your conference?
For us, we have an incredibly competitive conference. Southeast Louisiana just made the national tournament. So, we had the opportunity, we played them twice. Incarnate Word, they made the national tournament last year for the Southland Conference. So we got them. University of New Orleans, Houston Christian, McNeese, Texas Commerce, Corpus Christi, down in Texas, far down in Texas. Let's see, Nichols State, they're in Thibodaux, Louisiana, Nichols University rather, but in Thibodaux, Louisiana. So those are some of our conference teams. But I feel like we do a really good job of those preseason games of getting out and playing some of the best. We played OU this year. We played Big 12 conference winners. We played OSU, JC Hoyt there in our first year. I think what a turnaround, just incredibly good job there. So we played her. We played Tulsa, probably the powerhouse of running the Princeton offense. It was absolutely crazy, and they could just absolutely shoot the snot out of it. But a privilege to coach against her. We played LSU, who's on their way to the Final Four. So, tough games, yes. Fun, great atmosphere, yes. And what a good measure for the girls and for myself. You coach against the best. And when you play against the best, it shows you what it takes to be the best. And so makes for some tough games, but I think it really helps prepare us for conference.
Of course, what is that home game atmosphere like playing Corporate Christie in your conference?
Awesome. I prefer playing definitely at our place over their place. But I think our whole staff, my staff, yes, but Martin and facilities, Kevin Bastian as an athletic director, just all the scores table. But we have a huge gym, but on game days, it becomes really tightened up. And it becomes a real intimate atmosphere. Our cheerleaders, our dance team, the best band in the land, like we got it all. Ginormous demon that blows smoke that the girls run out of. All the courtside seating, everything. It's just ESPN Plus. It's just what an opportunity. One, to coach. Like my mom and dad get to watch me in Topeka, Kansas. How cool is that? To be able to say you're coaching on ESPN Plus and the girls get to play on ESPN Plus. And that was the athletic directors just really pushing that and forging that forward. And, our commissioner, Mr. Grant, like Chris Grant, he did that, like made sure that the Southland Conference is continuing to rise and be on that national level. But playing in Prather Coliseum is special. We won more home games this year than the program has had since 2016. I wish we would have won more away games too, but we loved Prather. There was some real magic for the girls there. So it's a real hats off to the kids and like I said, to that staff that it's always undermanned. It's not, we don't have a staff of 100. It's a couple dudes and a couple ladies that are really just getting after it. Excuse those words probably, but just people working for people. Northwestern State, it's blue collar and everybody's got to be willing to work for one another.
Of course, what was that experience like getting to coach against LSU?
Crazy. It was a cool opportunity. You had to, obviously we were trying to do something. We were trying to make sure we put some points on the board, slow down some points. But I would be lying if there wasn't a little bit of excitement, giddiness, whatever, that you can look down the way and see Kim Mulkey. Like I made sure people took a picture of her and I shaking hands. But you want to talk about a class act. She took time to talk to every single person on our staff. She took time to have at least looked at the internet to see what we have and haven't done and be able to have a talking point about that. But tough as nails. And I absolutely love watching her on TV. She's fun to watch. She's passionate. She's excitement. She's always on the court. She's always dressed really well. Not my style, but she rocks it. So it's just a crazy opportunity, and for the girls too. We played LSU and they're walking onto the grandstand.
Of course, what does that recruitment process look like for those prospective student athletes looking to play college basketball?
Well, I think it's just, what does our process look like for our incoming recruits or just in general?
Your process and in general.
Okay, so in general, I just think everybody needs to focus on playing for your high school, do your best, play for your AAU team. And have that footage. Highlights, I could probably still look good in a highlight film if we really doctored it up and I got enough attempts. But we want to see that full footage. We want to see the good and the bad. Send us schedules. I personally, it's great the basketball set. I want to watch you in person because I want to see when you sub out, how do you interact with your teammate? When you're mad and your coach subs you out, do you walk to the end of the bench? Do you stay at the front? Do you give your coach a handshake? Do you guys have eye contact? Body language, pet peeve of mine. It's not the official's ball or job to go pick up the ball. In my opinion, like Northwestern State players, we will go pick up the ball. If it rolls somewhere, it's our job to go pick it up and hand it to the official, so there's just some character things that I like to look for. And I think every coach is different, but as far as the recruitment side, do what you know is right all the time and you're going to get recruited. Work your tail off, be in the gym. And as far as kids for our recruitment and kids that we have coming in, it's about a bigger process. It's about basketball, but it's about your academics. It's about it's character, it's work ethic, it's coachability, it's mental toughness. It's, obviously your physical toughness, that's going to come with age and that's going to come with the college strength and conditioning, but there's so many things that are controllable. So we talk a lot about controlling those controllables, and then it's important for us to recruit kids that, are to an extent, an extension of us, and want to have that same vision of what success looks like and what it takes to get there and their willingness to do so.
What does that process look like for the official visit for those prospective student athletes coming to Northwestern?
Yeah, so it's a little bit different probably for each kid based on how many hours you're actually having them. But just the basis of that is going to be, we're going to want to bring you in. We don't put on a big recruiting show where I'm going to be very transparent, very candid with you. You know, but we're going to show them the town. We're going to give them the opportunity to meet some people in town that they can get a feel for what Northwestern State's about. We're going to make sure we feed them good. You know, give them an opportunity to watch the girls get up and down, but allow that kid to have some quiet time with our team, because as much as we want you to come play for us, and they've got to want to be coached by us. And then additionally, they got to like their teammates, and our team needs to like them, because it's our job to protect the kids that we currently have and to make sure their hearts are happy and make sure we're building something positive around them. And so just giving the recruit and our team time to bond, and we get feedback from our kids, and obviously we get feedback from the recruit. And we want it to be a match in every area and not just one area, not, you know, and it's got to fit for you academically. So we make sure we spend the time with our academic advisor, and we've done our research on what you want to go into for academic purposes. But one day is it's probably a little more chill, and you have the opportunity to hang out with the kids and eat something good and get to know the coaches a little bit more than what the phone affords you to do. And then the next day it's a lot of meetings, and it's making sure that Northwestern State checks all the boxes, you know, and I feel like when we do our job, it absolutely does. It's a great place to be.
As a head coach, what is that feeling like, seeing those freshmen get to put on that jersey for the first time as a freshman versus as a senior for the last time?
Oh, as a first time, it's exciting because you know how excited they are. They're probably really, really nervous too. So some of them, it's fun to watch, but it's like a proud mom moment. It's like, my baby's all grown up and she's doing it. And then when they graduate, there's a sadness about it, because you've spent, I don't care anymore with the portal. You may have spent 4, 3, 2, 1, and half a year. But there's a sense of pride that you see that kid finishing that season. And then what's probably even better, or is better, is when you can pair that with they're graduating in the fall, or they're graduating in the spring or summer, and they finish their career with you, and you help get them graduated. Then you feel like you've made an impact on a kid. And I think that's why you've got to be in coaching, to impact a life, and to see that success again. It's another proud mom moment. You know, it's just different. One's really exciting, one's sad and exciting, because you don't want to see that kid go. But you're excited to see them kind of move into their grown-up life and, you know, and have success and keep up with them. It's important for us to have their relationship, you know, post graduation.
What's it like as a head coach to see them go on and achieve great things outside of the sport of basketball?
It's what the job's about. It's genuinely what the job's about. You know, kind of what I just alluded to. That's why we're in it. You know, we're in it because we love basketball. We like the X's and O's. We like hoops. We like all that. We like training. But it's about impacting lives. And so when you see them go have success, there's a sense of pride that you feel in your heart. And there's a little bit of a, hey, there's one more. And you're sending these young women out to have success. And, you know, if you've helped prepare them along with their family or whomever helped raise them, other coaches, their teachers, you know, you can look at that kid and there's a simple sense of accomplishment, but just an overwhelming sense of pride for the kid, you know, and for yourself, but absolutely for the kid.
As a head coach, what is it like seeing your players go on and achieve great things in the WNBA or even professional basketball in general?
I have only had kids go overseas, not play in the WNBA, but I think that's all the same. You know, it's same to the point of seeing them have successful careers, be it in education, business, what have you, or stay-at-home moms. Their success, whatever that looks like, is good, because you know you had a little bit of a hand in helping that young lady become the young lady that she is. Much shorter than her family, but hopefully impactful. You know, so I personally have not had a player go over and play in the WNBA. We currently have a player doing a couple different combines, you know, but as far as kids, for me, I've had kids play overseas, but not make it to that very next level.
What are some of your future plans for the Northwestern program moving forward?
Got to get some wins, got to get some more wins. I think we've really laid a good foundation. I think the girls academically are incredibly sound, moving kids into the degrees that they want to get graduated. And like I said, we're 100% graduation rate. So obviously we're going to stay there with that same exact intent. But as far as the basketball goes, like I said, I believe in my heart, we've laid a solid foundation, and now it's time to capitalize and be a top 3 program year in and year out.
What advice would you give those high school athletes looking to play college basketball?
Work your tail off. Work your tail off. It's not always about how many moves. It's, can I do that move perfectly? It's about being coachable, and really clean up your social media. A lot of kids have lost opportunities. Just first glance, you look at it and you got to keep it clean. You know, it's a representation. And as a coach, you're bringing in kids that are going to represent you, the program, and the university and the community. So, but love it. College basketball is not for likes. It is too hard. It is too demanding. But if you love it, sell out to it. And I mean that in the nicest way, as in believe in yourself. Don't require anybody else to tell you how good you are. You be how good you are. You know, and just having that confidence in yourself and letting that power you through. But again, you got to love it because it's a full-time job and then some.
What advice would you give those first-year college students entering their first year of collegiate basketball?
Time management. Get a planner. Because no matter how hard you think high school and high school basketball was, there's no comparison to just the difference in time. You know, you may have class from 8 to 12 and think that sounds great, but then you also had training room sometime in the morning, and you got to make sure you get to the weight room, and we got practice. And it's just being able to make sure that you're utilizing your time well, get sleep, and drink a lot of water. Because those will be the first 2 things that really run you down.
What advice would you give those players that are looking to play overseas or even professionally?
Go to a level that allows you to produce. You know, I think there's a lot to be said about, I think it's great. Sometimes kids level up, sometimes kids level down, but go where you can produce, go where you can be impactful and be on the court. Make sure you're making your commitment and your decision based on your relationship maybe with the coach, you know, academically, what's going to provide you a great opportunity academically, but go where you can be impactful. Make sure you fit the style of play. And I think all too often decisions are made on who has the best gym and the highest cost of attendance and the more NIL, where I think it really, and again, this is my opinion, but I think it needs to be built on who's going to believe in me the most, who's going to, you know, put me in a position to have success, but then where do I feel myself being most impactful? You know, and again, it's always got to be academics. So you got to make sure that school has your degree. But if you're wanting to go pro, you got to go where you can be impactful and get stats.
What advice would you give those future coaches that are looking to get started in coaching, whether they're assistant coaches or even head coaches?
Pay your dues. No job too big and too small. And understand if you're getting in at the Division II level, you're not maybe going to always be the X's and O's. And if you're getting in at the Division I level, you're definitely not going to probably be the X's and O's. Sit back and listen. And take notes, you know, and earn your opportunity to continue to be that more engaged. You know, but I think no job too big, too small, and always try to be about 10 or 5 to 10 steps ahead of your assistant coach, or excuse me, your assistant coaches or your head coaches. But I think, you know, I can remember I actually got in trouble for it, but cleaning the backboards. I was down in the valley and I was cleaning the backboards, and the players came in, they're like, that's not your job. And I said, well, this is our court. Those are our goals. So it's my job. And I think that's just something that you can continue to teach kids, and young adults and old adults and everybody. Everything's your job. And if you can put everything to be your job, I think you'll excel in life, because you'll find that work ethic that I think you need to have success and to fight through a ton of adversity in life.
What advice would you give those head coaches looking to build their own program and build their own legacy?
It's going to take time. It's going to take time. And I'm teaching myself that right now. You know, I feel like we have a really good group of kids. You know, we fought some injury, fought some adversity, but to do something right, it doesn't necessarily always happen overnight. And for some, it does. For us, it's not. And so you got to really, you know, one of our mantras is process over product. And I've really had to make sure that I stayed true to that thought, because building something takes time, and building something of worth takes time. You know, you've got homes that go up in like 2 weeks, and you know, they're not built as good as the homes that take 6 months. And so it's just, I'm telling myself, like I just said, but you gotta put your time in and do it slowly. And sometimes it takes a lot longer than what you hope. But it'll happen. So keep trusting, believe in yourself.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media along with the program at?
For me, I am on Twitter at Coach Nimz. So at Coach, and then my last name is N as in Nancy, I, M as in Mary, Z as in zebra. So at Coach Nimz, you can find me on Twitter. I'd love to have you follow me. Love to have you reach out. And as far as supporting, watching, checking us out, nsudemons.com. Check us out. And you can always find us on ESPN Plus as well. So they're a good group of kids. They're worth following. They're worth supporting. And who knows, maybe you'll teach me a thing or two if you tweet at me. Tweet at me. That's how old I feel just now. I said that.
Thank you again, Coach Anna Nimz, for your interview, and best of luck in your future as the Northwestern State head coach.
Thank you very much. Fork 'em Demons.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.
For your interview, and best of luck in your future.
Thank you.